Hi, this is Debbie, your Blinds.com design consultant.
Oh, wow. A real person.
Yep, I am here to help you with everything from selecting the perfect window treatments to...
Well, I've got a complicated project.
Oh, not a problem. I can even schedule a professional measure and install. We can also send you samples, fast and free.
I just might have to do more.
Oh, okay.
So the first room we're looking at is for guests.
Shop Blinds.com now and save up to 40% site-wide. Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions may apply.
I knew it. Another Hurrdat Media production.
Hi.
Hey, how are you ladies?
We're good. So we have gotten so many requests like, Roxanne, why did you stop with the Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively stuff? Like, we want updates, but there is like an update every day. So it became very overwhelming. And obviously, like from December, I was like tweeting and talking about like, I totally have a feeling that this Blake Lively thing is, just exaggerated from her and all this stuff. Like, I just didn't really believe it based on the interviews I did with, or I've heard of Justin Baldoni. And then I came across, and we did some podcasts, and I came across Citizens Journalist. And I feel like, and what is your Twitter page? Like, what's the exact name of your X page?
It's at CJournalist 24.
Perfect. Okay. So I came across your page and I feel like you had information before like TikTok had information, because I would see like you were just so on top of it. You would have things and then all of a sudden, like maybe 10 hours later or the next day, I would see it on TikTok and I'm like, oh my gosh, like she's so on top of this. So and even today, like every day I'm like reading your tweets. What got you to get into this?
Well, I originally started on websleuths.com, which is like forum for sleuthing, like true crime and stuff like that. So I always liked like sleuthing and trying to find out stuff. And so when the lawsuit had originally hit, I was actually kind of sick to my stomach because I was like, oh my gosh, that's so crazy that that happened to her. And, like, it was that night that I was like, oh my gosh. And then I remember getting on Twitter and there's a content creator, Ari Jacobs, who she caught it really quick. I think it was like the next day or the day after, and was basically talking about, what happened with her in the New York Times and stuff. And so that's when I started to sleuth because I was like, there might be something more here. And, then of course, I found you guys and all kinds of other stuff that just kept leading me down the rabbit hole of just searching for more and more because it became like everyone's kind of Roman Empire. And
Yeah.
and I just started to just sleuth. And I know you said like, oh, you'd have all the information because I would get on like regular MSM, Google, try to just find all different stuff. Once he hit his lawsuit, from there, it just was crazy. I mean, in the blink of an eye, 2 months passed by because there was so much to sleuth and, try to figure out.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, and that's why I reached out to you because I was like, I want you on. I want you to give us the latest updates because just like you said, there's so much and I haven't even been able to keep up. Like I see a lot still, but for some reason, like I'm on TikTok where I'm just on TikTok to like look at everything and I don't even see it on TikTok anymore. Like, I don't know if people aren't reporting about it as much, or I'm not sure what happened. Cause once she hired like a crisis PR person, I kid you not, I don't see updates at all with like the whole Blake Lively stuff. So it's like on X, I see your updates. So that's why we wanted you here. We wanted you to give us like the latest updates, like the top updates. I know we talked about it of what's been going on since, we talked about it, which was we dissected both lawsuits.
Wait, before, has that been your experience where like you don't see it so much on your timelines too? Where like since she's hired the PR crisis, or that just might be Roxanne's like algorithm?
I do think that we're seeing less of it, and there's several different things that my theories are as to why. Is for one, it was 2 months of craziness where everybody was trying to keep up, and I think a lot of people are kind of taking like a little breather because it is going to be a whole year before trial and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
some of it could be like fatigue, and the other thing was just not really speaking on, Ryan Reynolds and things like that, because there was a lot of creators whose algorithm took a hit for speaking out.
Yeah.
Oh.
Melanie King, had some problems with her account. There were some accounts that were glitching out. There was different little things that were happening. And, they did coincide with her hiring this new PR guy. Now, whether it was that or whether it was just coincidence, I do think, there was some people who kind of took a hit with it.
Yeah. Well, so tell us like what's been going on, even if it starts from like as of recent and then, things that have happened in the middle.
Well, do you guys want the legal update? Because there's simultaneous stuff going. There's the legal aspect of it, which pretty much has updates every, couple days where legal paperwork is coming in. And then, there's kind of their shenanigans and things that, their Instagram stories and things like that, where it's just, her and Ryan updates on things like that. So I don't know where you guys want to start.
Let's start with the legal updates.
Okay, so the most recent filing was with Ryan Reynolds, who just he clapped back, I think, a couple days ago, 2 days ago, and so that was the last filing on his end. Where now we're just waiting for the judge, but so his original motion to dismiss himself, he basically put himself as the supportive husband. I don't know why I'm being sued. Um, you know, there's no reason for me to be in this lawsuit. I need to be dismissed. But Wayfair came back with their response, and they said that he should be in the lawsuit because of something called the agency principle, which basically means that he was acting as Blake's agent when he made those comments to the WME agents.
Right. Did he admit to even like playing Nice Pool, that character that makes fun of Justin Baldoni? I feel like I read something that he admitted that was like based off Justin Baldoni?
Yeah, a lot of people were reporting that he actually had admitted it, but on a second read, it was almost like he didn't really admit it, but he was basically saying, like, even if I did, it's parody. So he
Okay.
didn't like deny it per se. But yeah, he was just trying to say, like, I have, nothing in it. And a lot of legal analysts think that when Wayfair came back with their response calling him an agent, because if you guys remember the January meeting where, the big meeting in January when he kind of went off on Justin Baldoni, he was listed as a representative for Blake Lively in that meeting. And so that's where they're saying that he was an agent to her because he was listed as her representative. And because he made those statements to WME, this is where, he's no longer protected by any of the litigation privileges that she's protected by or that New York Times is protected by. And they're now saying that the defamatory statements that were made were not something Blake Lively said, that it's what Ryan Reynolds said as an agent to her.
Wow.
That is crazy. Has the judge been pretty neutral with both of them coming in and like asking for these claims? Like, have you seen it be more one-sided than the other?
He hasn't really made any decisions yet.
Okay.
So, but as far as like the ones that he has made, where he had the live hearing with, the last one was a live hearing where they were trying to get the protective order. He seemed pretty fair where he kind of, I know Lively's team says they won on that, but he kind of was, I felt neutral on that because he didn't give them everything they wanted, but he gave them some of what they wanted.
Okay.
What were some of the things that they wanted from that? I know, didn't Blake want hers to be dismissed as well?
No, for that one was the protective order where they basically wanted, her medical records and things like that, which were already going to be attorney's eyes only. So that's why some people didn't really feel like it was a complete win. But yes, she is also trying to get herself dismissed, and that is also still ongoing. We're waiting for her response probably today or tomorrow, where there's one final clapback that she can do where they replied basically, telling her the same thing that they told Ryan Reynolds, that the defamatory statements that she made were not the 17-point list or the January meeting, but the ones that her husband made. And so as basically acting as her agent, and they did, say they talked about her dragons, which is, I love Friedman's filings because Baldoni's lawyer basically, when he writes it up, it's really entertaining to read because he always has this, something snarky in there for us as the court of public opinion.
Yeah, I know. Every time I read his response, I'm like laughing because I'm like, oh, he gives no shits. But I'm also like, it's because he's like super confident. And it makes you like wonder if, like, I feel like with Baldoni's side of things, they kept receipts of absolutely everything. And because of this, like, she has no case. At least that's how I'm seeing it.
Yeah. When you read her timeline, and that's kind of what intrigued me to try and sleuth everything, was when they did put up the website with the timeline, because the timeline is coherent and it has stuff to back it up, where when you read her filings, for the most part, it's all over the place, and then it contradicts other pieces of her story. So right now, what she's trying to do with the case is she is talking about a California Civil Code law that's called 47.1, where it's a law that's designed to protect, victims from getting defamation lawsuits against them. And what it does is that if she wins any of her motions or claims, that the defendant has to pay treble damages and punitive damages 3 times what she would normally get. So it decentivizes people from putting defamation cases against someone who has made SH claims against them. And it's really big deal in the law aspect of all this, because what Wayfarer was saying is that the law that she's using to try to get out of this motion to dismiss 47.1, that it contradicts another law that's a First Amendment law called the Noor-Pennington Doctrine. And so this may go all the way up to the Supreme Court, according to legal analysts, and it may end up being one of these precedent-setting cases for the Me Too movement, because this is the first time that the 47.1 law will be used. And it's a brand new law that just went into effect in January of 2024. And so there's no precedents as far as how to apply it. And so this could become case law. And, whether Judge Lehman rules one way or the other, the legal analysts are saying that it will get appealed, and it may get appealed all the way up to the Supreme Court. So it's basically the First Amendment against Me Too, which is what it'll end up being.
This is just so crazy to me how it's gotten to this point. Like, I don't think she ever even thought that that was going to happen.
Well, because at the end of the day, he kept backing down from everything. So I think when she did this, she thought he was going to back down because of who they are. And he actually was like, no, we're going to fight. We're going to fight back. And I don't think she thought that was going to happen, because he was so, like, you could kind of take advantage of this man the whole movie. And that's exactly what she did.
Yeah. And one of the tidbits that just came out with the CRD complaint was one of like a sleuth on Reddit actually attempted to do their own CRD complaint with just random info, I guess, or missing info. And they were able to obtain the right to sue notice within 5 minutes. And so one of the tidbits that's coming out is that theory that she never intended for it to go this far, where now she filed her lawsuit and all this stuff, that she just intended to go as far as the CRD, the New York Times, and then was thinking that he was going to back down, and never thought this far.
No matter what, though, at this point, are they going to go to trial?
According to legal analysts and everybody, like as of the most recent, filings and everything, they're saying that they don't think any of this is no one's going to get dismissed. The only people that might get dismissed is the New York Times, but they're saying that this is probably going to go all the way.
Wow.
You had posted too. I think I had saw that the Wayfarer was arguing to the judge for an extension to produce something because Blake Lively's party wasn't cooperating. What was that about?
So basically, Leslie Sloan, who's also a party to the case, that's Blake Lively's PR, and she's in the case because of the same principle that they're saying Reynolds is in the case for, which is she acted as Blake Lively's agent and made comments about Baldoni to the press and stuff. So she's in the lawsuit right now. And what they're doing is they're in the phase where they're asking for discovery, which is a list of interrogatories, which is like questions, and then documents that they have to provide. So she had complained before about Wayfair asking for, overburdensome documents and things like that. But now she's coming back or Wayfair is actually coming back saying that they wanted an extension because they were the ones that were now filing for, tons of documents. I believe it was 1,600 different documents that they were asking for. And what Wayfair was saying is we need more time. We're responding to all these motions to dismiss. And so they're waiting. I think they have until Friday to see what they're going to say, what Sloan's people are going to say back to them. But they're basically saying, look, we need more time, and they don't want to grant us this extension. And there was someone on Twitter who actually said, well, this is rich coming from them because they were the ones calling Wayfair and saying that they were overburdensome. So it's kind of the same thing with Lively, where it's like rules for thee, but not for me. They're always hypocritical about the things they do.
Yeah. I know that just a few days ago too, I think his name is Adam. So he played the OBGYN in It Ends With Us. And he came out and I don't know why he just like randomly now is speaking on it, but he claimed that Blake Lively mischaracterized their scene in the lawsuit. And correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't that the person she claimed was Justin's friend when, he was like hired?
Yeah, that was the one that she constantly kept complaining about. And I think I tweeted, like, this is my Roman Empire. Why, out of all the points and the things that she's, has against him, she always makes sure to single that out, which is that he hired his friend as the OBGYN in that scene. And she always makes it out to be some kind of nefarious thing. And so she had a lot of backlash over the weekend where she responded to Jed Wallace, who's also a party to the case. He's the one that she's saying was the, the smear campaign, master manipulator guy with no evidence, and so she had filed a response to him in Texas where he's suing her for defamation. And there was a lot of backlash on her, especially on X and everything. A lot of people were angry because she again brought up these allegations when it has nothing to do with that, but she made sure to point out that part about him hiring the friend for the OBGYN. So I'm not sure that's why he chose to speak out now, because it was kind of back in the center of things with that lawsuit. But yeah, she really did anger a ton of people over the weekend. And then we started to see articles coming out from Daily Mail and stuff that was like, she might regret the lawsuit. And I believe she posted on her Instagram stories too, a picture of Eeyore or something saying she was hoping for more sunshine or more days of sunshine or something. And it was at least my theory that, there was kind of some damage control there where she may have gone too far with that Jed Wallace lost, the response to him, and angered so many people that it was kind of like they were trying to do maybe PR to make the people like her again.
Yeah. And I want to talk about the Jed Wallace thing, but I want to quote, because I'm on your X right now, and it says that he said, if I'm called to testify in the case, I'll answer truthfully and more freely whatever is asked of me with all the legal protection that affords, in particular by noting that Miss Lively was not nearly nude in the scene we shot together. And that's what she's claiming. And then she claimed that she was obviously uncomfortable and whatnot. What is going on with this Jed Wallace thing? Is that his last name? Hopefully I'm saying that right.
Yeah. So Jed Wallace, again, is who she is claiming, with zero proof, other than, she's saying that there's these text messages between Baldoni's PR that have his name in it. But he actually signed a declaration under penalty of perjury saying that he did not do this. And so a lot of legal analysts say this has a lot of weight because, it's a signed document from him. And it's basically him saying, I had nothing to do with it. And he doubled down on that actually on his response yesterday to her, because he's trying to get himself dismissed from the New York case. So with him, he has two cases simultaneously going on, where in Texas, he has sued her for defamation, saying, I have nothing to do with this. You put all these other charges against me because she didn't differentiate in her documents what he was a part of, or so, people were thinking he was part of the SH and stuff. So he's suing her in Texas, but he's also in the lawsuit in New York, along with, Wayfair and everybody else, where he's trying to dismiss himself because he didn't do anything. And that's where he filed his declaration and all that. So that's where his most recent response was for the New York one, for his motion to dismiss. So we're now waiting for the judge to rule on that, whether he will be dismissed, because yesterday was his last response to her. And it was really funny because the last paragraph, his attorney he really just went for it and basically said, if this is a movie script, we should be written out of the script, and, made these little one-liners. On that whole paragraph that was pretty funny to get himself dismissed. But a lot of people think he may be getting dismissed from here, and that it'll be consolidated to Texas.
I want to touch on the co-stars and the deposition stage coming up, like the celebrity support. Talk to us about the whole Taylor Swift thing.
What the whole Taylor Swift thing is that they came out in the press, I believe it was Monday, where it was an article basically saying that Taylor and Blake are friends again. Blake has apologized for calling her gorgeous monster and her dragon. And there was a lot of speculation as to whether it was Taylor Swift's PR that put that out or whether it was Lively's people who put it out. There was some sleuths who went really deep into it, saying that whenever it's Taylor approved, it goes to outlets such as People and Entertainment Tonight, and that those two outlets have not reported on it, so it wasn't Taylor approved. So some people believe that it was Lively's team who put it out there. We're not sure.
Wait, I have to ask, just so you know, CJ, Chantel is obsessed with Taylor Swift. So Chantel, that's true about the Entertainment Tonight.
Yeah, and that's why, like, when it first originally came out from Daily Mail that like they weren't friends, like it was weird because that's not like her publicist is Tree Payne, and like she doesn't go to Daily Mail ever. Like it never goes to that outlet. Like she never goes there.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of speculation as to why it was coming out when it was, because there's a couple of content creators that do SEO manipulation. I know Ari Jacobs used to do it, and she's coming back on to cover the case. But Ashley Brianna Eve is another one. And so they started to, get me thinking about like the PR and the SEO and stuff, and why are things timed the way they are. So whenever there's articles that are not in favor of Lively or things like that, because the Taylor Swift thing was funny because it literally bombarded not just the Blake Lively search, but when you would search Justin Baldoni, it also was all articles about how Taylor Swift and Blake Lively were friends again. So that was pretty interesting.
Yeah. And then
in my theory, like it's not that it even matters to that much of the case. Like I don't think they stopped being friends, like from the beginning. Like I don't think that was really a thing. But I guess we'll see later on.
I think they did. I think she probably got so much ick from her and was like, "What the hell? Like this is how you talk about me?" And she absolutely maybe not said we're not going to be friends. I think that she probably was like, I just
distance herself.
Yeah, or distance herself. Because that's so cringe what she was doing. I know that you had put something together for us, and you said that Jenny Slate I saw this, like Jenny Slate and then Brandon, they kind of like changed their tune, and both of them like refuse to talk about it now.
Yeah, I know Jenny Slate was saying she wasn't going to have no comment. And then Brandon was basically like, I'm team, it ends with us. I'm not, on either side. But we have seen that, as opposed to when she first filed the lawsuit where people were retweeting reposting the lawsuit and supporting her. Now people are more on the quiet side. Now, whether that's because they're going to be deposed and they can't say much, or whether it's because they're trying to distance themselves from her.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what exactly it is.
A few weeks ago, Colleen Hoover goes on Instagram and she is rocked. Like she looks drunk out of her mind. She looks like she could be on something. And she just seems like she's been through it. And she kept that on her story for 24 hours. Like we posted it, everyone posted it. What do you think that was about? Do you think that she is regretting things?
I'm not quite sure because some people thought that it could have been just like marketing for her merch and stuff like that. There was different opinions, but there was for sure. I thought I had posted it and I was like, it's Colleen crashing out, but I'm not quite sure what she was trying to do there by, posting that. I do know that she has 4 movies up in the works in the pipeline, 4 of her books that are getting redone. And, I don't know if that was to get her name back into the algorithm. Because now, ever since I learned about SEO and all that stuff, now I think everything is like has a purpose, So I'm like, I don't know if that was to get her name back into the algorithm, whether it was good or bad, I guess. But I'm not sure if it was just to promote her stuff.
Scary.
I wonder how she is going to, because like for example, Anne Hathaway's in the new movie Verity, and that just got done filming, so they just wrapped it up, and it's going to come out May of 2026. And I wonder how she's really gonna, if she's gonna even really be that much involved like she was with this movie, or they're not gonna let her.
Get ready for the Championship Omaha, presented by Sunburst Communication. June 12th at Quarry Oaks Golf Club in Ashland. It's not just a golf tournament, it's Omaha's premier corporate golf showdown. 2-player teams, no handicaps, and the chance to crown the top corporate team. Premium hospitality, elite networking, and an unforgettable experience. Don't miss out. Call 402-333-7620 for more details.
Ready to optimize your nutrition this year? Factor has chef-made gourmet meals that make eating well easy. They're dietitian approved and ready to heat and eat in 2 minutes, so you can feel right and feel great no matter what life throws at you. Factor arrives fresh and fully prepared, perfect for any active, busy lifestyle. Lose up to 8 pounds in 8 weeks with Factor Keto meals. Based on a randomized, controlled clinical trial with Factor Keto, results will vary depending on a diet and exercise. This works so well for me as a busy mom of 4 children, where I don't have to actually do anything but heat and eat. And the best part is, it's so flavorful and delicious. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/TRH50 off and use code TRH50 off to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code TRH50 off at factormeals.com/TRH50 off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box.
As far as like the red carpet?
Yes, like as far as everything, because she seemed like she was very into it with Justin, like really loving him in the beginning. Like they would post things and then being there, for the red carpet when it started to air. So I wonder, like, if she's like, is like, I'm not going to be a part of this.
Justin was so amazing though. Like he went above and beyond to include her. A lot of people don't do that, and it's like, look at you, bite the hand that fed you, that was taking such good care of you, that you liked before Blake came in the picture. At least that's what I think. Who's going to be deposed? Like, do we know for sure who's going to be deposed?
We don't know exactly who, but there's a lot of speculation as to who, especially because Brian Friedman did go on an interview saying that anybody who would have any information in regards to this, or that, could have been adjacent or involved in it. So there's, theories of sleuths who said why would these people be deposed. I know Hugh Jackman was in the junket crasher promo that Maximum Effort did. I don't know if you guys remember that one where nobody understood what was going on. It was the one with Brandon Sklenar in the sweaters and stuff.
Okay.
So he was in the It Ends With Us junket. Gigi Hadid might get deposed because she was her clothing line, guest in residence, was one of the things that Blake used in the costume kind of takeover thing. So some people speculated she might get deposed. Bradley Cooper was at one of the Friends and Family screening, according
Oh
to
gosh.
a Reddit post. And he was thanked at the end of the credits, so it did lend credibility to that post. And then one that a recent sleuth came up with, which is a TikTok creator, Bocce Go Hawks. I really like her. She's a smaller creator, but one of the theories that she came up with was the sister of the Traveling Pants cast. I believe it was America Ferrera, had hidden her original post where she was. Remember they made that statement.
Yeah.
And so her theory was that the reason why the post was hitting was because maybe she didn't want to get deposed, because when she broke down the statement, there's a part that says, throughout the filming of It Ends With Us, we saw her summon the courage to ask for a safe workplace for herself and her colleagues. And so her theory was, what did they see? Will they be deposed? Was that just figure of speech we saw? Or did they actually see something, So her theory was that they would also be deposed as well.
Yeah. Wow.
What a mess.
Yeah. What's been going on with Blake? There was a whole donut debacle. Like what ended up happening with that? Talk to us about that.
Yeah, the donut incident that happened, it actually got pretty crazy really fast. So she ended up going to go see her friend in Connecticut who has a donut shop. He's a pretty popular, I think, chef who's been on a couple of these cooking shows and stuff and has his own donut shop. And she went there and did a photo op, posted it to her Instagram stories. And then everyone looked at the pictures and, thought, why is she posting this? Because she had her hair all over the donuts in the pictures. So people called the health inspector. They ended up having a whole health inspection, which ended up being cleared, but it caused, this big thing where, people were going to the donut shop and, saying like, she's not wearing a hairnet and things like that. And for me anyways, I just kept thinking like, why is she not laying low when she knows that her name right now or attaching herself to people or places comes with backlash? Like, why would you put your friends in that situation, And,
Exactly.
there's been other, stars who have had controversies like this. Like I know, Chantel, if you're a Taylor fan, you remember when she did the $1 lawsuit for her own thing with that guy that was in the picture with her. She went underground for a whole year, and she's one of the pop stars, And even after the Kim and Kanye thing, she also went, completely silent on social media, completely silent on, everything. We didn't hear from her. Whereas, I feel like Blake may have come back too quickly because the more that she comes out, she is under the microscope. And just when people start to kind of, not have as much dislike of her, she comes back with something and then she riles everybody back up. And, I just feel like whoever's advising her isn't doing a very good job as far as the donut incident for one. And, her coming back out so soon.
Exactly. Like if I was her PR, I would be like, sit your ass at home. You're not doing any appearances unless it was like, obligated from things in the past. But I wouldn't do anything. Like I would literally be home in my room until this is all done.
But I think that Ryan Reynolds is incapable of doing that. And he's the one advising her with a lot of this stuff. Not that he's responsible for what she's done or anything, but I do think that he is responsible. And he probably thinks like, if we stay quiet and if we act like something's wrong, we look guilty. But it's like, no, not at all. It looks like you're trying so hard and that's not working either.
Exactly.
So she did some promo for like Another Simple Favor. Henry Golding is on that. And I think he plays her love interest. I didn't watch it, obviously. But there was something that you had put that she grabbed his crotch and it was caught on camera.
Okay, so well, this is actually from the first movie. Sorry if I
Oh,
might
okay.
have put another Simple Favor, but it is from A Simple Favor, which was the behind the scenes commentary on A Simple Favor.
Yeah.
And so in the behind the scenes commentary, sleuths again found this video, which uh Paul is basically there watching the movie and going over it, and he's like, "This is one of my favorite additions that you put in here." And it's a scene where she grabs Henry Golden's crotch, and he basically says that she added this or improvised this after the fact. It wasn't in the script, and they laugh about it and say, especially when I kept making you do it, and I told you to do it harder, and it was really disturbing, actually, if you listen to it. And so a sleuth found that and pointed out how hypocritical it was of her to say, Baldoni was adding these gratuitous scenes and all these stuffs when she was adding these scenes herself. And for me, I felt it was really hypocritical because when Baldoni was adding any scenes, he was actually working with an intimacy coordinator. And his whole point, it wasn't like, I know a lot of people believe like that are on the Blake Lively side, that it was, him being a creep or something for trying to add these scenes. For one, the book, if you've read it, It Ends With Us, has it's kind of on the smutty side.
Yeah.
So that's for one. But also there was, I don't know if you guys remember the handwritten notes that he had where he was talking to the intimacy coordinator, and he had some handwritten notes about the scenes that he was trying to add. A lot of people didn't know what clit test meant, and what that means is it's an actual thing that was someone from the UK came up with to bring more of a female perspective to film. It's called the clit test, and so it's these certain things that are put in so that you see these scenes from the female perspective, and what's pleasurable to them and things like that, because a lot of people thought that women didn't really, they would watch movies and think, oh, this is what it's like, and so movies didn't really depict the woman's experience. And so this is actually like a whole movement that started in the UK, and a lot of films and directors use that in their films to be try and help put out more of a female gaze in these types of scenes. And so he actually had a purpose for this. Whereas, here comes Blake in this movie, A Simple Favor, and the only reason why she's adding this is not because she wants to, she says, but because the character wants to. And, it's a crotch grab, and it's just, for someone who says they didn't want to add all these scenes, and then for her to do this, a lot of people were reporting that this may be the smoking gun in her case, or that it's going to be really helpful in her case because, it is kind of hypocritical.
Right. Yeah.
No, very.
There's never like the moment when she explained when they were slow dancing and how he like didn't or they weren't actually, I don't even know, what was it? They were supposed to like act a certain way. He was acting out of character or something.
Yeah, like she wanted to talk and he didn't, and then like he like sniffed her neck or something. Like she just kept making it seem like those are like weird things, and I think those are that's just acting. Like you have to give grace. Like you have to know his intent is not to be, like I would hope you would think his intent is not to be a creeper. And even if he was, like yeah, exactly. And if there was like a little things like here and there, it's like to take it to this level, I think is what is, where everyone like you and all these people that are just so outraged and they're like, no, this is not okay.
What's crazy. Yeah. What's crazy is like, I always thought like, cause I am like anti-celebs, but like, I still am a loser who keeps up with them. Right. Cause I'm like, oh, I don't like celebrities because they don't live in the real world, but then I like keep up with things. And I always thought, Blake and Ryan seem different. Like they clown on each other. They have a sense of humor. Like he posts silly pictures of her. Sometimes he like goes too far, but he posts silly pictures. Like they for sure seem like chill. They have 4 kids. Like people in Hollywood are so like like, I don't know, I just feel like a lot of people in Hollywood are anti-kids, or they don't like care for that, you know? And I was like, they kind of seem in a sense a little bit normal, like funny, like how couples act. They're not trying to prove like they're this perfect, amazing couple. And then, and they can take jokes, especially because of what Ryan's history is, like what movies he's been in. You know, he's not a serious actor. He's not like a Ryan Gosling. He's not ever in like a big motion picture type movie. You know, that isn't like this Deadpool, which I don't even know how people watch that. I don't find that funny or anything at all. Like, I don't get that movie at all. One time I watched it, I was like, this is what people are going crazy about. But anyways, I know
It's called sarcasm, Roxanne.
I don't think it's like so weird though. Like, it's not funny to me. It's like SNL to me. Like, I don't find SNL to ever be funny. Like, I'm watching the scene getting ready to laugh and I just cannot laugh. So I don't know. I guess it's not my type of stuff. But what's going on with like Ryan? Like, what has he been doing?
Yeah, so to that, what you're saying, where, you know, you thought they were like kind of this jokester couple, you're right, because they do tend to bring up, you know, sexual things and inappropriate things in interviews and all this stuff. And especially, you know, Ryan Reynolds in his movies. And one of the things that has come up with Ryan recently is that in his movie Deadpool Wolverine, the latest Deadpool, he actually had an inappropriate line. And this is also behind the scenes commentary on the movie, where they just kind of tell on themselves, where he basically says that Kidpool, who was played by his 7-year-old daughter, did not want to say these inappropriate lines, which I believe it was something along the lines of getting Wolverine's D out of his mouth. And that she didn't feel comfortable saying them, but that she ended up saying them once he said that he was going to recast. And then Sean Levy, who's also in the behind the scenes commentary, ends up saying that, you know, to our discredit, we did make her say it, you know, 70 to 500 times, which some people said was hyperbole, but he prefaces the comment by saying, "I shit you not." So I'm like, well, that's kind of saying like it's not hyperbole, but regardless, it became a big thing. MSM was reporting on it and everything about how his 7-year-old daughter, a lot of people at the time, I guess, when the movie came out, thought that it was, you know, a adult voice actor voicing it, and that it was just her, you know, acting in it, but that it wasn't her voice, because she's in the suit. And so it was, you know, kind of a big controversy, and especially with people who followed the case, because here they are, you know, bringing this entire lawsuit over these, you know, scenes that are from an adult book. And yet here they have, you know, their 7-year-old daughter saying these really inappropriate lines. And whereas Baldoni, when, you know, Blake didn't feel comfortable doing things, if she said no, we don't see that in the movie, or, you know, that he added it into the final script or anything. Those scenes were cut and all that. And here, you know, instead of cutting the scene, so, or, you know, rewording it or something, he basically kind of threatened his own daughter to recast her. So that's the latest controversy with him, which, you know, was, like I said, pretty hypocritical.
Yeah,
Well,
hearing stuff like this makes me so outraged. Like, I want to be a sleuth now, okay? Like, I want to go and like find these things because I'm pissed.
No, that's such a good point that you just made, though, where you're saying, you know, at times, which it seems like anything Justin did, Blake Lively was uncomfortable. And he actually, because I'm sure there's directors who are like, we don't care. Like, we're hiring you. This is a job. And, you know, he like backed off and was like, okay, this makes you uncomfortable. But then you have Ryan talking about how his daughter, his 7-year-old daughter, is clearly uncomfortable. And I'm like, pretty relaxed as a mom, but like I would be uncomfortable with that whole situation. And instead he's threatens his daughter, and then they're worried about Blake being uncomfortable with like this innocent man. Like, Justin Baldoni is so, you know, I've listened to so many podcasts of him, and he just seems like he wants to be better. He wants to do better. And there's people like her who are questioning, can people really be that way? And while I do agree that Justin is could be a character or a person, to me at least, that could be overwhelming. I'm like, that's amazing at the end of the day that he's like this. Like, this is something that we should all strive to be better. What's going on with Justin? Like, what's updates with him? I think he's in Hawaii. Is that correct? Is he still there?
Yeah, he is still in Hawaii, and I know a lot of people have depicted it as a vacation, but he is actually giving his home to, or actually lending his home to some of the victims from the California fires. So he's letting them stay there while he's in Hawaii. So I thought that was pretty cool that, a lot of people were like, well, he's just on vacation. He hasn't gone back home, but he's actually lending his home to a couple families, I think, are staying in his home. And he's actually, he's got a good PR playbook because he's laying low. I mean, we've seen a couple paparazzi pictures here and there of him, getting ice cream with his kids or whatever. But as far as we know, he's just laying low. So there's not really much of an update with him, just fighting hard with, all these motions to dismiss that his lawyer has been clapping back with. And, hopefully we hear back from, I think, Lively's final response. Like I said, it may be due today or tomorrow. And then from there, we'll just be waiting on the judge, which he can take however long. But I think he did say, he was going to try and come back in a timely manner with those. And we'll see who ends up, making it through this portion of it, the legal battle.
Whatever happened, and I know that we have to wrap up in a little, but whatever happened with Scarlett Johansson? So Wayfarer, I remember like she was cast in a movie that Wayfarer was doing. Is that still going on?
Yes, it's Eleanor the Great, and I believe that is coming out soon. I don't have the exact details, but I will probably post it on my X account once it does come out. Wayfarer does have a new movie called The Nice Boy or something like that that's coming out. So a lot of people are going to support that, even though it's a smaller movie and not out in a lot of theaters. It's a Wayfarer project. So the Eleanor the Great is also a Wayfarer project from Scarlett Johansson. It's her directorial, I think, debut maybe, or it might be her second directorial.
I thought. Did they already film it? Like you're saying, they already filmed that?
Yeah, it's already been filmed. I think they wrapped it up, and it's going to be coming out here soon.
And was Justin Baldoni, I mean, I know it's his company, but was he involved in that? And the reason I bring up Scarlett Johansson, in case you guys forgot, Ryan Reynolds was obviously married to her. And a lot of people have said that in that marriage, he was very jealous of her success and was very controlling. That's allegedly. And they obviously got divorced. And, it is said that he was allegedly cheating on Scarlett, even though they were having problems with Blake Lively, because they were filming The Green Lantern. Did I get that right or no? I hope I did.
Yeah. No, a lot of people also have theorized that could be, why there was a sudden backlash, because I believe her announcement that she was going to be doing this movie kind of coincided with the timeline of when all this started to go down. So there's some people who have, theorized or speculated that Scarlett Johansson's, having her own director thing either may have sparked Blake Lively to want to take more control, or, maybe it sparked Ryan to try and, have backlash against Baldoni for it. But I mean, I'm not sure if that theory kind of pans out, because I do believe Colin Jost follows Ryan on Instagram or something, which is Scarlett's husband. And I know when they were on SNL, there is a picture of them talking at the SNL 50th. Whatever. Yeah, there's a picture of them talking. So I'm not quite sure if that actually plays out.
Yeah. I just wanted to let our listeners know that's Scarlett Johansson's current husband. He works on SNL as one of the actors there, or whatever you call them, comedians. And so you're saying there was a picture of them talking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's why I was like, I'm not quite sure about that speculation. It could be true, it could not be true, but once I saw that he was following, or they were following each other. I'm not sure who follows who, but there was something on Reddit about them following each other.
I do think that Blake Lively is, though, 100% jealous and wanted her career to be taken more seriously. So when she sees an ex, like that's his last ex, and she sees how successful she is in the same industry, I think any woman would be like, oh, like we're in the same industry. I want to do better than my husband's ex. Like I do think that subconsciously, a lot of women at least would have that thought. So I could see her, and then I could see Ryan also pushing it too for her and saying, you should be doing more, not just acting. And then giving her like a little bit of confidence. And then they just took advantage of the one person who actually gave her something.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, that could be the case where she kind of wanted to have a lot of people also theorize, Margot Robbie had her Barbie moment too. So a lot of people, say that maybe she wanted to take more ownership of her projects and start getting into the directing stuff and all that. Because I remember Baldoni too, on one of the red carpets said, well, maybe, she's the one to direct It Ends With Us too.
Right.
Second
Wow. Yeah. Is there anything else that we've missed out so far? Because we do want to have you back, and especially because there's going to be so much more things happening. But is there anything else that you feel like is important to our listeners to know about this?
Well, the legal stuff we went over that we're just kind of waiting for that. On as far as like the tea aspect, we did have Ryan Reynolds with Easter eggs that a lot of the sleuths are trying to find now, where because he put so many Easter eggs in into Nice Pool and the Deadpool thing, now a lot of people are looking for Easter eggs everywhere. So a lot of people thought that the donut incident could have been a like an Easter egg, because when Nice Pool is shot in Deadpool, which Nice Pool is, for some people who don't know, Nice Pool is the character that they're saying that that Justin Baldoni was parodied using Nice Pool. And when he's shot, they actually shoot him up next to a donut cart where Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool says, look, a donut cart, they're practically hospitals. So there was a lot of people who were saying, like, is the donut, them going to a donut shop an Easter egg and stuff like that. But, other people are like, well, it's a reach, or you're looking too much into it. But the sleuths are out there sleuthing.
Right. And I love that. I love that. And again, I love your page so much. You guys, you can follow her on X, CJournalist 24, because you have all the updates first. I was messaging you. I was like, you need to be, and I don't know if you are you on TikTok?
I do have a TikTok and a YouTube that I just started, but I haven't posted videos and stuff because I'm still learning how to edit and things like that. But I will be posting to them eventually. I've only been doing this for a couple months, so I'm just, starting to get the hang of things. And I do appreciate the opportunity of coming onto the podcast and everything.
Yes.
But yeah, for the most part, I get most of my information just through, citizen sleuths and other citizens. It's a group project. And there's Reddit, there's TikTok, there's regular MSM, and I just, scour the headlines, what's new. I have my notifications on for their, names and stuff like that. And, it's kind of just for my own sake as well, where it's, sometimes I can't stop thinking about it because it doesn't make any sense. And that's, I think, what stemmed my sleuthing, at least for me, was I'm trying to make sense of something that doesn't make sense. And in doing that, you find these little tidbits that start to add up and be like, okay, well, this makes more sense towards Baldoni's case. And you start to make more sense of the case that way. And, I do appreciate that the sleuths are out there getting information, because Brian Friedman has already used a lot of this stuff, like the metadata that was found by a sleuth, basically saying that the New York Times had, the stuff before that. These two videos, the, behind the scene commentary with the Deadpool stuff and the behind the scene commentary with A Simple Favor. That's all stuff that sleuths found. So it's kind of a big group project as far as trying to help Friedman.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure also, like, you feel bad for someone because this completely can change someone's life in the worst way possible. And that's exactly what happened, because when it first came out, everyone was immediately against Justin Baldoni. So when you find out, wait, this doesn't seem right, you do want to look into it, and you want to be like, justice needs to be served here. This is not okay. And it sounds like you know, from what we're seeing so far, Justin was in, like, he didn't do anything of what's being portrayed. So that's why I also appreciate accounts like yours who are continuing to spread the truth, because a lot of people, you know, aren't on it like that. They're not able to see that. And that's why I really wanted you on. So we appreciate you coming on so much, and we want to have you back absolutely to get more updates. I thought you were the perfect person because, again, your account, I'm like so fascinated with your account. Again, you guys follow her on X. If you are on X, CJournalist 24. Do you want to tell them about your TikTok, or you want to hold off?
Yeah, I'll probably post on there once, you know, I got more videos. I do have one video posted right now. It's cj.cjournalist on TikTok, or cj.citizenjournalist on TikTok, which is kind of like a tribute video to all the creators that are, you know, working on it. It's kind of like a compilation video that I made of all the creators. So I only have that one video up, but I did want to give a quick shout out to some of the creators that are actually trying to like turn the situation around, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
They're
We'd love
doing, you know, good projects surrounding this case, because, you know, yes, there is the sleuthing stuff and the keeping up with the tea and stuff, but there's actually two creators. Zach Peters is one that is doing a campaign through April 11th, where he's donating 50% of sales of his merch t-shirts that say "Justice for Justin," and then he also has Mommy Sleuth and Daddy Sleuth shirts, and 50% of those sales are going to the No More organization, that was the original organization that Baldoni was working with for the movie.
Wow.
And so that's really positive that he's doing that. And then another creator named Elsric, we actually did a stream called Save the Kids Pool. So after the kid pool stuff came out with Ryan Reynolds, it left like a really bad feeling, especially for people who have kids and things like that. It was kind of like an ick that was left. And so Elsric has family in Ghana, and she has been working since she was 16 with giving back there. And so we did a stream on a Popcorn Planet with a bunch of different creators, where we were trying to get school supplies and necessities for those kids through an Amazon wish list. And we got more than 1,000 items that were donated.
Wow.
So, yeah, she still has the Amazon wish list up. I think she's at Elsric TV on X, if you wanted to check that out and donate to those kids. We called it Save the Kids Pool.
Amazing.
And so it's something amazing that, you know, the creators are, you know, helping out others amid all this drama that's happening. And I just did want to like point that out, that, you know, there's some people trying to like, you know, do some good out of all of this.
And I love to hear that. That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. And thank you for being on. We appreciate it so much. This was even great for us to get a catch up on. So we appreciate it. We thank you. And we hope you have a great day.
Thank you so much. You guys too. And I appreciate it. And I'll be back soon. Thanks.
All right. Bye.